Question the damn narrative, especially your own, without losing yourself. Blind belief is comfort. Questioning is courage. You don't grow by nodding. You grow by digging. Let's be real. You've been accepting stories about yourself, your life, and your potential without asking if they're actually true. Do you find yourself defending beliefs you've never examined? Do you assume that questioning your own thoughts means betraying yourself? Do you think growth means completely abandoning who you are instead of discovering who you really are underneath all the conditioning? Here's what no one tells you. The strongest beliefs are the ones that can survive honest questioning. The most authentic you is the one that emerges after you've stripped away everything that isn't actually yours. Today, we're learning how to question without destroying, how to grow without erasing yourself, and how to think critically without losing your identity. We're covering 5 game changers. First, using the Socratic method to get to the truth underneath the noise. Second, learning to challenge your beliefs as an act of ownership, not betrayal. Third, asking better questions to get better direction. Fourth, embracing uncertainty as space for growth instead of a problem to solve. And fifth, understanding that evolution isn't erasure, it's revelation. 1. The Socratic method isn't just for philosophers. Learn to ask why until the noise falls off. Here's something that will transform how you think. The Socratic method is the art of asking why until you get to the bottom of what you actually believe versus what you've been told to believe. Growth starts when you get curious, not when you stay loyal to old scripts. Most people accept their first answer to important questions, but first answers are usually the most conditioned, the most influenced by other people's opinions, and the least examined. Real insight comes from the fifth, why, not the first one. For example, why do I feel like I'm not successful? First answer, Gus says I don't make enough money. Because I chose the wrong career. Wow, because I was afraid to take risks. Because I was taught that security matters more than satisfaction. Because my parents were scared of financial instability. Now you're getting somewhere real. The Socratic method strips away the layers of assumption, conditioning, and inherited beliefs to reveal what's actually driving your thoughts, feelings, and choices. It's like archaeological digging for your own mind. You keep going until you hit bedrock truth instead of surface explanations. This isn't about becoming cynical or dismissive of everything you believe. It's about becoming conscious of why you believe what you believe. When you understand the origin of your thoughts, you can choose which ones to keep and which ones to release. Practice asking, why? About beliefs that feel automatic. Why do you think you need to be perfect? Why do you believe you're not good enough? Why do you assume that success requires sacrifice? Keep digging until you find beliefs that feel chosen rather than inherited. 2. Challenge beliefs, especially your own. You're not betraying your values. Time for some uncomfortable truth. You're not betraying your values by questioning them. You're proving they're actually yours, not hand-me-downs from family, culture, or society. Beliefs that can't survive honest examination weren't really your beliefs anyway. They were just ideas you were carrying for other people. Challenging your beliefs is an act of ownership, not abandonment. When you question something you've always accepted and discover it still feels true after examination, you've transformed a borrowed belief into a chosen conviction. When you question something and discover it no longer serves you, you've freed yourself from carrying someone else's limitations. Most people are terrified to examine their beliefs because they think questioning leads to chaos. But actually, unexamined beliefs create chaos because you're making decisions based on unconscious programming instead of conscious choice. You're living according to rules you never agreed to follow. Start with beliefs about yourself. Do you believe you're not smart enough, creative enough, or capable enough? Where did those beliefs come from? What evidence supports them? What evidence contradicts them? Are you living according to an outdated assessment of your abilities? Move on to beliefs about how life works. Do you believe that good things don't happen to people like you? That success requires suffering? That you have to choose between money and meaning? These beliefs shape your decisions, so you better make sure they're based on truth rather than fear. The goal isn't to reject everything you've ever believed. The goal is to become conscious of what you believe and why, so you can choose your thoughts instead of being chosen by them. 3. Better questions, better direction. Stop asking what's wrong with me. Here's a game changer. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions. Stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start asking, "What would progress look like right now?" Quality questions create quality life because they direct your attention towards solutions instead of problems. Most people ask terrible questions without realizing it. Why does this always happen to me? Assumes you're a victim. Why can't I ever get this right? Assumes you're fundamentally flawed. Why is life so hard? Assumes suffering is inevitable. These questions don't generate useful answers. They generate self-pity and helplessness. Better questions generate better thinking. Instead of, "Why am I so lazy?" ask, "What would make this task more appealing to me?" Instead of, "Why do I always mess up relationships?" ask, "What relationship skills do I need to develop?" Instead of, "Why can't I stick to anything?" ask, "What would make this easier to maintain?" The shift from "Why am I?" to "What would" moves you from identity-based problems to strategy-based solutions. You stop trying to fix who you are and start figuring out what you need to do. You stop being the problem and start being the person who solves problems. Practice reframing your internal questions. When you catch yourself asking a victim question, pause and rephrase it as a strategy question. When you notice yourself focusing on what's wrong, redirect to what's possible. When you find yourself analyzing problems, shift to designing solutions. Your brain will find evidence for whatever you're looking for. If you're looking for reasons why you can't succeed, you'll find them. If you're looking for ways to make progress, you'll find those too. Choose your questions carefully. They're programming your focus. 4. Uncertainty isn't weakness. It's space for growth. Let's talk about something most people fear: not knowing. You've been taught that uncertainty is weakness, that not having answers makes you inadequate, that admitting confusion is failure. But here's the truth: uncertainty isn't weakness. It's space. Strong minds can sit in the unknown without self-destructing. Certainty is overrated and often false. The things you're most certain about are often the things you've examined least. Real wisdom includes knowing what you don't know and being comfortable with the edges of your understanding. Uncertainty means you're growing. When you're learning something new, confusion is part of the process. When you're expanding your perspective, disorientation is normal. When you're questioning old beliefs, not knowing what to believe temporarily is healthy. The discomfort of uncertainty is what most people try to avoid by clinging to beliefs that no longer serve them. They'd rather be certain and wrong than uncertain and growing. They'd rather have outdated answers than updated questions. Learn to say, "I don't know," without shame. Learn to hold multiple possibilities without needing to choose immediately. Learn to sit with questions that don't have easy answers. This isn't intellectual laziness. It's mental flexibility. Jordan Peterson said, "In order to be able to think, you have to risk being offensive. You also have to risk being wrong." That's where truth lives, in the willingness to be uncertain long enough for real understanding to emerge. 5. Growth doesn't mean erasing yourself. Evolving isn't abandoning who you are. Here's the fear that stops most people from questioning their beliefs. They think growth means becoming someone completely different, losing everything they are, abandoning their authentic self. But evolution isn't erasure, it's revelation. You're not becoming someone new. You're unbecoming who you never really were. Growth doesn't mean throwing away your core values, your personality, or your fundamental nature. It means releasing the limitations, fears, and inherited beliefs that have been covering up your authentic self. It means peeling away the layers of conditioning to reveal who you really are underneath. Think of it like cleaning a painting that's been covered with dirt and grime. You're not changing the painting. You're revealing what was always there. You're not becoming someone else. You're becoming more yourself than you've ever been. The parts of you that survive honest questioning are the parts that are truly yours. The parts that fall away under examination weren't really you anyway. They were just ideas you picked up along the way. When you release beliefs that don't serve you, you create space for beliefs that do. Your authentic self isn't fragile. It doesn't need protection from honest questions. It doesn't crumble under examination. If anything, questioning makes your true self stronger because it removes the false supports and reveals the real foundation. Don't be afraid of outgrowing old versions of yourself. Don't be afraid of changing your mind about things that no longer feel true. Don't be afraid of becoming someone your past self wouldn't recognize. That's not betrayal, that's evolution. All right, time to face the facts. If you're clinging to beliefs that can't survive one honest question, you're not standing on truth, you're hiding in comfort. That's not growth, that's fear in disguise. You think you're being loyal to yourself by never questioning your thoughts, but you're actually being lazy. You think you're protecting your identity by defending unexamined beliefs, but you're actually imprisoning yourself in other people's limitations. Your beliefs should be strong enough to handle scrutiny. Your values should be solid enough to survive examination. Your identity should be real enough to withstand questioning. If they're not, then they're not really yours. They're just comfortable illusions you've been carrying around. Stop treating your thoughts like sacred objects that can't be touched. Stop acting like questioning your beliefs is an attack on who you are. Stop being so attached to being right that you can't risk discovering truth. The strongest people are the ones who can say, "I was wrong," without losing their sense of self. The wisest people are the ones who can change their minds without feeling like they're betraying themselves. The most authentic people are the ones who question everything, including their own assumptions. You're not your beliefs. You're the person who chooses your beliefs. And you can choose differently at any time. Here's your challenge for this week. Write down one belief you've never questioned, something you've always accepted as true without examination. Then interrogate the hell out of it. Ask why 5 times. Dig deeper with each answer. Trace it back to its origin. Read the evidence. Consider alternative perspectives. Let yourself not know for a while. Growth starts with the uncomfortable questions, not the comfortable answers. Your authentic self is waiting on the other side of your willingness to question everything you think you know. If this video reminded you that questioning isn't betrayal, it's evolution, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're building a community of people who choose growth over comfort and curiosity over certainty. Share this with someone who needs permission to question their own beliefs without fear of losing themselves. Sometimes we all need a reminder that the strongest foundations can handle honest examination. Remember, you're not broken, you're untrained in the art of conscious thinking. And the skills of critical questioning and mindful belief examination can be developed starting with your next uncomfortable question. Until next time, stop accepting inherited limitations and start creating conscious convictions.